Well, howdy, howdy, howdy. Finally, Senior Citizen here. Greetings, boys, girls, and all of our non-binary friends, and welcome to this, a brand new day. And remember, no matter who you are valid. And I don't know why, but microphone in shot. I'm not bothered by it. Well, I am a little. But I don't know why putting it in roughly the same place and the camera in the same place, and 99% of the time, it's hidden. But that 1% of the time, nah, it's just right out there, and I have no ideas what the difference is. Thumbs up. Welcome to a brand new day. It is grayish and overcast now. It's going to get brighter like it did yesterday. Started off here, gray and chill, and then sun broke, and it was sunny. Windy and cool, so it was nice. In fact, when I went out walkies yesterday, I wore a shirt like this, and I was almost too cold. And I usually just wear one shirt in weather like this. So it promises to be the same today. Hopefully it's good where you are and you're not burning to death or anything like that. I mean, if you're burning to death, obviously you're not going to be watching this. What I mean is hopefully the heat's not too bad. I have written things down and I've put them over there because putting them here would have divided them up on two monitors, and one monitor is up like this and one's down like this, so they don't meet in the middle. Doesn't quite work. So I'm going to be looking over here at some things. A lot of things that I'm going to talk about first are I have been watching some reaction videos again. I usually watch movie reactions. Sometimes I watch music reactions. I've been watching Devo, the group Devo, reactions, trying to stay centered, so I'm looking up there. And I've talked before about how one of the things that is painful as you grow older is the loss of cultural relevance. Things that were important and foundational to who you are from your youth are gone or possibly mocked and ridiculed in modern current times. That can hurt, number one, to see it lost, and number two, to see it mocked and ridiculed. But also, part of the loss of cultural relevance, aside from seeing that stuff that was a foundational part of your youth just vanish, is the number of people to talk with them about just keeps going down. Because the older you get, the few of you there are that are as old as you. People die all the time. We're not special. We live in a universe of matter where things have a beginning, a middle, and an end. And sometimes those ends come abruptly and violently. So, there's that. But Devo, I was watching, and yeah, the cultural relevance and loss of that is very painful because Devo, the group, became popular about the time that I was a teenager, going into high school. 16, 17, and all that. I graduated when I was 19, so I went in when I was 16. And I was going to parties and being introduced to new music. This is the time that I was really getting into things like Led Zeppelin and all that. But Devo was new on the scene. Things were coming out. They weren't really new. I was mid. I started graduation. Started high school in 1977, and Devo started in the 70s. So I was there when their albums were released and being played by people, pre-internet. And I got to listen to each and every one of their new albums as they came out, and how each one was building on what they had done before, and how they were pioneering things that are actually still in use today. If they hadn't been around, modern music would be far different. And now, that stuff is first time listening reaction. What's even weirder, of course, is going to Walmart and hearing the stuff that used to be played as, slightly edgy, on the frontier, mainstream won't touch it. Now it's just Muzak played at Walmart. Good choices, but... So, yeah, that's been kind of painful, listening to the people reacting to this stuff. Some of the reactions I click out of because I don't know the reactor. And then, they're just staring stone-faced while the song plays. Good job of reacting. What's the point when you're just like that through it? So, and then there's others that they just, you can tell when somebody gets it and when somebody doesn't. And when they don't get it, it's like, oh boy, no. And the thing is, I understand music is, genres and tastes change. If you don't like something, you don't like something. You can't judge someone for that. It's like, oh, you can't see the color red? You're a bad person. I was like, no, that's something intrinsic to you. I don't like most country western stuff. Did I choose that? No. I say most because my parents, when I was younger, listened to exclusively country and western. Does that mean I hate it all? No. Dolly Parton? Oh my God, wonderful. And if you've never heard of the Statler Brothers, you've probably heard the song Counting Flowers on the Wall in the background of movies. Because it's a nice background movie song. But it's Counting Flowers on the Wall. That don't bother me at all. I got plenty to do. Playing solitaire with a deck of 51. So don't tell me I got nothing to do. Yeah, and that one was like before my time. So, thumbs up. But yeah, listening to people react to stuff. And this is a great one because there's a song called Beautiful World that Devo did. Came out when I was a kid. Like really music videos. I watched it, as like I say, when I was a teen. Got to see the music video because it was played on... They had talk shows like the names will mean nothing, but it's like there was Merv Griffin and Mike Douglas, and these were like conservative older white guys doing conservative older white guy TV back in those days when you weren't firebrands going on and saying let's go out and do all these awful things. It was just American culture of the time, and they played that Devo song. But it's an interesting song. You can't really tell how sarcastic it is while you just listen. When you see the music video, you suddenly realize about halfway through it, it's social commentary. Because it starts off, the song and the video are great. They're saying it's a wonderful world. It's beautiful. The people in it, sweet and wonderful. Everything is great. The world is romantic. It's beautiful. And it isn't until the third repetition that they start showing scenes of war, Klans member, authoritarianism by police officers. Yeah, it's a beautiful world we live in. It's a sweet romantic place. But watching people suddenly catch on to, is always a good thing to see. Now, what else do I have up here? On song reactions, I'm going to talk about this one as well. First, I'm going to start with this, because it's not just about Devo, and this is just a me thing, but I only really know me. I don't know the insides of anyone else, so I talk about me. I generally don't like covers of songs, but that's because I like the first version that I hear, which also means that if I hear a cover first, that is now the one I prefer. As stated, if I know if it's a cover of a song that I know, I'm not going to like it. But the Beatles song, Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, I first heard that covered by Elton John. And I far prefer that cover. I think the original is lifeless and flat. If I had heard the original first, I would have thought that the Elton John one was far overproduced. So listening to covers and knowing that they're covers, looking over here to make sure that I'm still on it, I heard this song, I Can't Get No Satisfaction, by the Rolling Stones, first by Devo. And the song by Devo is a demake / deconstruction of it that sounds almost nothing like the original. And I far prefer that. I don't like the original. I don't like the Rolling Stones version. Ugh. But what else do I have up here? Because I do have some things. Oh, yes. The one song that I do watch some people do reactions to, I watch because I cry like a baby. It's the song Paint It Black, where people are reacting to that. And if you've never heard the song Paint It Black, it is one of their very earliest songs. And it is a song about loss, grief, and mourning. And once you realize, I'm getting all caught up with emotion. Once you realize what it's about, it can be a gut punch. And just listening to it, I cry. I mean, it reminds me, the person's reaction in the song, to how I felt after my wife died. So, thumbs up on that. But one of the things that I have started doing, and I think I mentioned this yesterday, was I was going to try taking 1 milligram of guanfacine 3 times a day. Now, I wrote a post about this, so if you read posts on the YouTube app, I mean, you would have read that there. But I want to talk about it because I took my previous dose at midnight. And then instead of noon yesterday, I took it at 8 in the morning. So that's pretty soon after the last dose, 4 hours earlier. So at 4 o'clock was when I would take the next dose. But I was going to take my blood pressure at 3 o'clock to make sure that my blood pressure wasn't too high or too low. My blood pressure was actually like 135 over 76. I don't like the 135 part. So losartan and being on guanfacine, which is a mild blood pressure med, was not really driving my blood pressure down. However, my pulse used to be really high back when I got basically zero physical activity aside from work. I would come home, plant myself in front of my chair, in front of my computer, and then not move. I was not a healthy person. I was very sedentary. So my pulse was like 90 something. Then, after the death of my wife and my starting to exercise, my pulse rate started to come down. And before I started taking guanfacine, before I started taking losartan, my pulse was under 60, 55 to 60, and my blood pressure used to be 113 over 70. Started Ritalin. I'm still struggling with my blood pressure. But my pulse has always been about 59. Now, there have been a few times in the past that my blood pressure has, for whatever reason, back when I was married to my late wife, of course, where my pulse suddenly dropped to 30. And it was difficult to do things. It only lasted for like 5 minutes each time. But literally, because it took so long between beats of my heart, I would get dizzy and start to go, ooh, between beats, and then boom. Okay, it's boom. And so that was, I don't like my pulse quite that low. So yesterday, I took my blood pressure, as stated, 135 over 76, and my pulse was 48. Okay. All right. That's not good. So I look up, can guanfacine lower your pulse? And the answer is yes. It certainly can. So if my just altering taking my regular dose by 4 hours drives my pulse down by 10, I don't want it to go down another 10 when I take a third dose at 4. And then am I going to be at just a maintenance dose then where it keeps it at like 40? Or is each time I do that going to drive it down further? I didn't like the 48. Not terrible, but that's, again, 10 beats less than it was before I took it 4 hours early. This morning, I took it at English. I took it again at 8 o'clock after skipping my 4 o'clock dose and then taking it at midnight last night. Another 4-hour difference. Now, I don't feel dizzy with my pulse being 48 as it was yesterday. I didn't even realize my pulse was that low. I felt no different. So I'll check it at 4. I just don't want it to go down too low so that if it's too low, I can't call for help because it's too low. And if it's too low and I can't stay conscious and I suffer massive amounts of hypoxia, lack of oxygen, I'm not special. I am just an aging mammal. I can die at any time from anything. So I'm being very careful. Taking my BP again. I'm supposed to be doing it every single day. So I'm trying to remember, that's the issue, remember to do it 3 o'clock every day. But that's my fear right now. I mean, I had the fear before that my blood pressure was going to get so low that I'd pass out. And then now it's like there's a fear that my pulse is just going to drop so low. Do I have anything else on here? Here's one current thing that's a political thing that's really the only thing I'm going to talk about again, because current events, everything that's happening in the United States right now is a huge part of contributing external factors for my depression and not extrinsic and not intrinsic. I have enough intrinsic problems that keep me depressed, cyclical depression. I don't need the extrinsic factors to help that. But occasionally, I do get some current events. And one of the things that for the past X number of years, ever since Trump first started campaigning, has always been about how the government was weaponized against him. You know, the government shouldn't be weaponized. And all that he has done is once again proving that every, accusation is a confession. He's done nothing but weaponize the government. Now, with the big falling out going on between him and Elon Musk, well, they're slapping a 93-point-something-odd% tariff on one Chinese good that's needed to make electrical cars. Specifically, needed to make Teslas. Every single Tesla has them. And once Trump tariffed that one particular piece that affects Tesla, Tesla's stock tanked. Should the President of the United States be weaponizing the government against private citizens? Well, when he was campaigning, he said no. Now that he's president, it's, oh, hell yeah. So that's it for current events. I have been trying to think of creative things, but I'm already at 20 minutes. So if you could like, comment, share, subscribe, that would be very cool. Greatly, greatly appreciated. If you are a Patreon patron, you are truly beautiful and awesome people. Thumbs up and thank you so very much. I appreciate your help intensely. Thumbs up, thank you. And if you've left me a comment, you two are beautiful and awesome in your own way. I read every comment that YouTube shows me. I thumbs up every comment that YouTube lets me, and if I can't, I give it a heart. And I answer as many comments as my nerve compression will let me. Now that it's getting better, I'm trying to pick up and do more, but I gotta be careful I don't overwork these. So, yay. I'm going to edit, render, upload. I'm going to continue playing computer games with a controller as often as I can. It is a struggle and a fight to play two worlds with a controller. I had to go through and edit the registry so it would even use a controller, and then it is a struggle every single day to make it acknowledge that I have a controller. I have to go through the Steam overlay and use the mapping that's recommended and then select it so it gets applied, and it might work. And then I have to quit the game again, start it up again, and then same thing. Try to make it overlay the controls, and after about the third time, if it doesn't work, it's just not going to work for the day. It's not going to acknowledge a controller. Same time, because the controller is plugged in, it's not going to acknowledge the keyboard either. As the game. The system will, but the game, it's just playing on demo mode forever. But hopefully you can get done the things that you would like to get done. That'd be very cool. Definitely a thumbs up. And of course, if you can't, please do not beat yourself up. You deserve better. Now, I play an internet game of Marco Polo. Remember, I got everything written over here, so I'm trying to look at stuff to stay focused. I try to play an internet game of Marco Polo where I call out a secret word and listen to see if it's being called back by being written in the comments for two reasons: blatant engagement farming, and I am a listening because it's nice to be heard, which is why I try to answer as many comments as I can to show you that you are heard as well. The people that chose to play last time were Jesse Koskinen. Thumbs up and thank you very, very much, and I hope the birding has gone well. We have, I can never tell if Chris has suddenly switched names or if these are real people. Max Slasher, thumbs up and thank you. Gus Garrett 6838, thumbs up and thank you very much. And I am on the net. Thank you very, very much for being so and for playing. It is appreciated. And if you have watched this far, if you could type encounter into the comments for, again, blatant engagement farming, and I'm listening. If you choose not to play, of course, no fear, no foul. You don't have to. I don't require it. I wouldn't force anyone to, even if I could. Consent is important, even on something as silly and minor as this. But if you do choose to play, thumbs up, thank you, greatly appreciate it. Oh, really quick. I've got, now that has showed up, I got the first 3 decks for Dungeon Runner. These are like the beginner decks. And then there's the next set of 3 decks that are supposed to be a step up. I got a second one of these. So I now have 5 decks of these, each one coming with its own character. And yes, while there is a fair amount of overlap, like gold is a treasure, you pick up gold. So if you've got gold, they're going to have gold in each one of these, but they also have individual traps and things like that. So thumbs up. I am overusing my arm right now. It does not hurt up here, And so I've gone back to being left-handed. I gotta be careful. Anyway, though, you take care. Have a great day today. I will see you on the flip side, and that is indeed a very, very good thing. Which, again, having done this now, I have to not do that, so I can click over here to get the recording screen up front and tell you about it as it happens, so I can click on the stop recording button.